This is the last presentation that I'm going to do on Unit 1. The usefulness of this is at the end of Topic 5. So, on all your essay questions in the exam, you'll be expected to talk about different market failures, why the free market fails to do things in the best way possible, and then how the government intervenes to correct the problem. What we want to think about now is how the government might actually get it wrong, so might not actually correct the market failure. Now, I'm not going to talk through all of these different problems we've got, these different government failures, just what I would regard as the ones that most people tend to find useful for the exam. Now, one very useful one is political agenda. Now, politicians are politicians, they are not economists generally. So, for example, if they were to discover through economists that they should impose a new higher tax on petrol or on smokers, then that might lose them votes. It's unpopular. So sometimes they might not choose to do the right thing at the expense of maintaining votes. A second problem we've got is inability to shadow price. Very, very difficult to shadow price, i.e. put a value on external costs and external benefits. If, for example, we look at a smoker, if we were to say, right, okay, the external cost a smoker create £10 for every packet of cigarettes smoked, that smoker should pay a tax of £10. But the problem is, how on earth can we put a value on that in the first place? It's very difficult to put a financial value on those external costs because we don't really know what the impact will always be. Another one we've got is enforcement problems. Thinking about regulation now, we know that drinking, for example, is a demerit good and a negative externality. So we have rules dictating who can drink and where they can drink. Those laws are often ignored. If they're ignored, the problem will remain. We've got a problem of will the government spend the tax money appropriately? If the government taxes smokers, you'd expect the money to go on healthcare to cure smoking related problems. If we put a tax on petrol, we'd expect it to go to funding public transport developments. Sometimes that's not happening. The government might use that money to spend on other things in the economy. If they do that, the problems will remain. Disincentive effect. We've mentioned in the past about progressive tax systems, benefits in kind and financial benefits. Sometimes the way the system works, some people are demotivated to work, and the benefits they receive give them a comfortable lifestyle. They will not therefore go out and get a job and start earning their own money. That means you've got some people in society who will choose not to work. At the other end of the scale, people on high incomes, progressive tax means that they will pay a very high percent of their income in tax. The higher that percent tax is, the less incentive they've got to get the extra promotion, earn extra money. So you have some people in society think, you know what, I'm not going to gain new skills to get promotion. You've got this problem. Lots of things that the government does to solve market failure is based on incorrect or imperfect information. They lack the right information to make the right decision. So, for example, we know that aeroplane travel creates external costs, pollution, which will lead to environmental problems in the future. At the moment, we don't really know what those environmental problems are. So, if we don't know what the problems are, how on earth can we possibly solve them problems? Conflicting objectives. One good example is petrol. We know that cars create many external costs. Again, pollution, cars create congestion, all these different problems. However, cars and petrol are an important part of our economy. If you make driving too expensive, people can't afford to do it. They can't afford to travel to work, for example. So sometimes what you want to do and what you should do can sometimes be very, very different things, especially when you've got two different things you need to achieve, but they conflict with each other. Now, the last thing I want to bring in is the idea of people failure. So the government can fail to correct a market failure, but sometimes people, given the right information, will still create market failures. So, for example, with merit goods, people know the benefits of education. They know the benefits of exercise, eating healthy food, but some people choose to ignore that information. That is an example of people failure. Demerit goods, people know that junk food's bad for them, drinking's bad for them, cigarettes are bad for them, but they still continue to overconsume them. They know the information, but they are creating people failure, i.e. they don't think it will happen to them, the problems, they probably will happen to somebody else.